What's up, guys? Tatura Rimehide. This fusion started today. Started off with a bang, Ice Golem and Dungeon Divers. Thanks, Plarium. No one ever wants to do Ice Golem. Pretty high point requirement, but that is to be expected with the way things have been going lately. So I think it was 2250. Come on, interwebs. With the way the points kind of shake out, that shakes out roughly, or that boils down roughly to about 2,000 energy if you're running Ice Golem 20, which you should be if you're doing these fusions. If you're doing Ice Golem 24, then you're going to be using a little bit more energy, and if you're doing Ice Golem 25, you can be using a lot more energy. It's just not the most efficient. But yeah, okay, so no fragments this time. It's just a classic fusion. Great news. Easy to keep track of, and even easier with this spreadsheet we made, or I made rather. You can get a copy of this by clicking the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're in the Discord, you can get the link there. Yeah, you will go, when you click the link, you're going to go up here. You will have view access only. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to File, make a copy, and then that'll make a copy to your own Google Drive, and you can edit that copy in there. Before we get into how this works, let's take a look at the fusion overall. Daily logins. And see if there's anything worth keeping here, because you do have a chance at 2 extra copies of the epics of Masamoto and a visionary. So let's see if there's anything actually worthwhile, and I personally don't really think there is. Some of you may, depending on what your account is lacking. Like this one right here, Umatogi's A1. We have attacks one enemy 2 times, has an additional 20% chance of inflicting a critical hit if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit will ignore 20% of the target's defense. Has an additional 20% chance of inflicting a critical hit if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. 3 turn cooldown when booked. And my dog just walked in the room. Places a Perfect Veil buff and 30% increased speed on this champion for 2 turns, then fills this champion's turn meter by 40%. I don't really care, because that's just this champion. That's the only person, or that's the only champ that's actually getting Perfect Veil in this, so it's not super useful. Let's see, crit rate in all battles. That's great, but where I see her being used, oh, this one right here, passive. Whenever this champion is attacked, completely blocks 1 hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0. That's super cool in, like, PvP, right? Super cool in PvP. But I don't see her getting used, right? And this aura is a little useless because there's so much better auras to sit in the front of your team. So I'm gonna say no on that one. And I mean, like, again, depends on where your account is. If you need a champ like that can counterattack on the passive, then okay. Masamoto, defense-based champ. Attacks one enemy 2 times. 10% chance of stealing 1 random buff. Super low percent chance. Can increase to 30% though, which isn't bad. Defense-based, you'd have to build with accuracy for that, of course. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack. Meh. Not a huge deal. And books out to 75% on 3 turn cooldown. Not super huge deal. Stagnite does that better. There's a lot of champs that do that better. Places 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%. Ooh. Okay, so that's cool, but 4 turn cooldown when booked, 6 turn unbooked. How many books does this guy need? Oh my gosh, a lot. Okay, so that's, let's see, 4, 8, 13, 15 books. No thanks. Hard pass. Visionary. Attacks one enemy. 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn rate by 15%. Armiger does this better, who's an uncommon, and is free to book. So, no. And it's conditional. Under decreased crit rate or decreased crit damage. Now, of course, that's in her kit. Attacks all enemies. 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased crit rate and 25% decreased crit damage buff on all enemies for 2 turns. Not a huge... That's not that great. I mean, if it slaps, then sure, but... And it could mess some people up in arena. Yeah, like if they're not critting anymore. But still. Yeah, this is cool, again. And this would be a great move here. If, like, a great opener. If her speed aura was applicable in PvP. But it's only in dungeons. I mean, it's a good kit. But I don't really see the need to go out of your way for that. And then Broodlord. 50% chance of placing Provoke if the target's under decreased speed. 50% ally protection buff on an ally, just one, and then block debuffs on that ally, and places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns, equal to the 20% of this champion's max HP, but he's a defense-based champion. Right, so that's a problem. Attacks all enemies, 4% chance of placing stun, books to 50. Increases 75%, or 80, books to 85. For allies for enemies under decreased speed. Whenever this champion is attacked, or whenever allies under allied protection buffs are attacked, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff on the attack. All these are too conditional. I don't like them. But that's fine. That's fine. And we're not even looking at the rares. We don't really care about the rares. Okay, so again, point requirements for the Ice Golem, 2250, around there. Dungeon Divers, I think, is pretty similar. Let's take a look. Dungeon Divers. 2500. Okay, so in classic fashion, Dungeon Divers exceeds the actual dungeon tournament by a little bit, which is fine. So, clean that here really quick. Get the red dots out. Squirrel brain. Okay, onto the spreadsheet. Alright, so we made this. On the left-hand side, I've grouped all the events and tournaments based on type. So all your Dungeon Divers are together. Artifact Enhancements are together. Summon Rush, Champ Chase are together. Classic Arena are together. And your Dungeon Tournaments are together. And then your Champ Training event and tournament are grouped together as well. You'll notice each of these has a red box with another red box sitting inside of it. Now, once you finish an event, meaning you get the champion from that event or tournament, you click this little red box, and it's going to put a check mark, and it's going to go green. Another thing you'll notice happen, see, this is next to champion itinerant for this event. You'll see under itinerant down here, after I clicked that check mark, a 1 appeared under itinerant. So every time I earn an itinerant, it'll add another point to this little box here, right? With the goal, of course, to get 4 of them, because you need 4 to fuse all the epics. And then once you hit 4, that box is going to turn green. What does not happen automatically, you'll have to choose which ones to do. Is kind of keep track of, so each epic requires 4 rares to go into it. So if I have 4, let's just say I have 3 itinerants, I'm going to go ahead and click under 3 of them that I have, you know, an itinerant. Now, because you can earn an extra Visionary and Masamoto, I would prioritize actually fusing Broodlord first, Broodlord and Umatogi, because if you don't want the extra epics, then you can just finish the fusion early and make it a little easier on yourself, save some resources. In order to get Visionary Masamoto, you need to finish the Summon Rush and the Champ Training event. See on the left hand side here we have a list of the champions included in each event. So the tier 2 champions, or the deeper champions that you have to earn, are highlighted in blue and underlined, and the regular ones, just the early reward in that event, are just typed in white, just regular text. Okay, so another feature of this spreadsheet, you'll notice in several places across this chart, this progress chart with the dates, I have green columns. Okay, this is when these columns coincide with dates when, yes, there are other events going on that require energy, but really all you should be doing is champion training, right? And here's why. Start off with an Ice Golem tournament and a Dungeon Divers. Those two are overlapping almost perfectly. Dungeon Divers just extends a little farther past that. Realistically, Ice Golem tournament should not take you more than 2 days. All right, if you have the energy saved up in your Arena Bazaar, in your weekly and monthly rewards, in your inbox, you should have enough energy to knock this out in 2 days tops. Okay, at which point Dungeon Divers will be roughly should be just about finished, right? It'll be like 7/8 finished. You can then finish off Dungeon Divers with champ training. Okay, and realistically, because this is Spider Tournament, we can go ahead and extend the champ training here and start. So let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. We'll adjust this right now, and then start your Spider Tournament on the right here on the 21st, when the next Dungeon Diver starts, right? Because Spider Tournament, again, 2 days, 1, 2, all that will go to the next Dungeon Divers 2, so you're overlapping and doubling up when you're using energy, or double dipping all the energy that you use, so that you're not wasting resources during this fusion. Okay, so we can actually remove this, change this, and this was just kind of like what I kind of planned on doing. And there's no other dungeon tournaments running. We'll just double check that. Yeah, so you're gonna kind of want to do the Spider tournament on the last 2 days that the Spider tournament is actually running, so that you're putting points into the Dungeon Divers 2 event, because those ones are usually pretty points intensive. Other than that, it's business as usual. I also have the same thing over here. This green column is just kind of when I recommend starting your champion training, and this is really all you should be using your energy for at that point. Like, by this day, you shouldn't be using energy on anything but champion training, because the last tournaments, like dungeon tournaments, occur before that. So you have Fire Knight tournament, 2 days. You got the Dragon tournament. You got plenty of days to do that. So green columns, you should only be spending energy on champion training, nothing else. Other than that, it's pretty plain and simple. Kept it very well organized for you. With respect to artifact enhancement, I know some people have an issue keeping plenty of silver in their account. So before this artifact enhancement, which starts on the 18th, you need to stock up about 11 million silver, which means running this dungeon, this Ice Golem dungeon, and basically selling, if you have nothing, if you have no silver, selling everything, right? If you have a decent amount of silver, go ahead and just sell the 5 stars and keep everything else. And then, of course, go through and find the pieces of gear that aren't very good, and you can get rid of those with bad rolls on it. Get rid of those. But you'll also need quite a bit of silver for Summon Rush, because those are the high value shards. So like voids and sacreds, those tend to cost a lot to open. So make sure you spend the energy, get the Ice Golem tournament out of the way, and get that money if you don't already have your silver prepped. Other than that, I think that about does it for the fusion. Well, at least for the spreadsheet. Tonight I'm going to be running just Ice Golem. Have a pretty slow team, but they enabled super raids. Show you a quick run through that. I don't use the like sitting down the ads tactic. I just use poisons all the way through. And we'll just run one of those. Calvalax and Tomb Lord. They keep the poisons up the entire time. It's nice. Oh, close this chat. So lock up from Syl. Even if they were to come out of that stun, they would be just blasted with poisons. And do it again this time. That's a pretty slow round. It's alright. I'm not looking for speed, I'm looking for consistency, especially with these super battles coming out. Brogdon's shield is pretty much up all the time with Godseeker here. It's really safe getting through these waves. And it's the same thing on dungeons 24 and 25. I hardly ever take damage. Maybe Calvalax because he moves a little fast and the reflect damage out here, so Calvalax will beat himself into the ground. Yep, but plenty of res on the team. Come right back up. And tomorrow for the summon rush, I suspect it's going to be in the range of 25 to 3,500 for the first tier, for like the first rare, and then the epic. Oh, I don't even know. 5K should be 10 sacreds. I don't know. I might be off on that. Maybe 2,500, 4,500, or 4,000. They're going to make you work for that epic, that's for sure. I'm definitely going to be taking the easy route, though, and just getting enough to diffuse Tatura. I don't really need those epics, so... And what's great about the poisons is that the poisons are what take him down below his thresholds for when he would just attack. Then it doesn't activate that ability. So if the majority of your damage to the boss is coming via poisons, then you're pretty safe. If you have huge nukers that are moving the Ice Golem's health down too fast, then of course, with direct damage and not via poisons, then of course he's going to swing and those guys are going to come back up. And they're probably still going to come back up. My issue is I have Syl of the Drakes in here. So I could probably speed this up if I took Syl out and use a different CC for the waves. Maybe Biggin. Yeah, not a big deal. Those poisons are still doing work. Alright, well, I may have messed that up. You see. I was literally running this all day, didn't lose a single one. I think we'll be fine. And that's why I always bring 2 rezzers on Ice Golem, though. Stuff goes weird if you're damaging too much. fight's almost done. Doesn't matter if he goes down. Next time Ice Golem goes, or not, Calvex is just going to finish it at that. Yep, there it is. Okay. That. Again, we don't need 5 stars. Sure you get those subs on a 6-star, but that's that. All right. Regular pack. It's pretty regular. Guys, tomorrow night I'm going to be streaming shard pulls, or maybe not night. Actually, probably around this time. We're going to do shard pulls with Chris and Ikaraz, hopefully, if he's feeling better. And let me know if you're going to do shard pulls, so if you want to pull them on stream, or if you want me to pull them for you, entirely up to you. Or if you just want to shout out and show what you got, we can do that too. I think that's going to be it for the night, though. I will give you an update again tomorrow with where the fusion progress is and if I've made any changes to the plan. Alright, make sure you click the link and get your copy of the spreadsheet. If you're having issues using it, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to help you out with that. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube, all the socials, you know the drill. And I will see you guys tomorrow.